Imagine an America without skyscrapers, highways, or electric lights. A country still finding its place in the world, young, ambitious, and restless. Then came an age that changed everything. The age of steam, steel, and ambition. The industrial boom that built modern America. The spark of change, it began in the early 1800s, a time when most Americans lived on farms, working from sunrise to sunset. Life was simple, but progress was slow. Then came invention. The steam engine, once a curiosity, became a powerhouse. It could drive machines, move trains, and lift industries from the dirt. Factories began to rise along America's rivers. Textile mills in New England hummed with new machines, and small towns grew into industrial centres overnight. For the first time, America wasn't just surviving, it was producing. The railroads, iron path to the future. If the steam engine was the heart of the revolution, the railroad was its veins. By the mid-1800s, railroads connected distant cities, carrying coal, steel, lumber, and people faster than anyone had thought possible. The Transcontinental Railroad, completed in 1869, stitched the country together, from the Atlantic to the Pacific. It wasn't just transportation, it was transformation. Towns popped up along the tracks. Immigrants found work laying rails, building bridges, and shaping the land. Trains carried opportunity, and America never stopped moving again. Steel and the men who forged it. Behind the new skyline of progress stood one unbreakable material: steel. Before steel, buildings were short, bridges were weak, and dreams had limits. But men like Andrew Carnegie changed that forever. Carnegie's steel mills in Pittsburgh turned molten iron into the backbone of America. Bridges that spanned great rivers, rail lines that stretched across continents, and skyscrapers that reached for the clouds. It was dangerous work. Long hours, brutal heat, and little pay. But the promise of a better life kept workers going. And from that sweat and fire, America built its future. Cities rise from the smoke. As factories grew, so did cities. New York, Chicago, Detroit, Pittsburgh, once modest towns now bursting with energy. Immigrants poured in from Ireland, Italy, Germany, and beyond, searching for work and freedom. They built neighborhoods, churches, and schools, turning America's cities into mosaics of hope and hard work. The electric light bulb, thanks to Thomas Edison, transformed city life. Streets glowed after dark. Machines ran longer. Production never stopped. Factories roared through the night, and the skyline filled with chimneys, symbols of progress and power. The titans of industry. With growth came great power, and those who seized it. Men like John D. Rockefeller in oil, J.P. Morgan in finance, Cornelius Vanderbilt in railroads, and Henry Ford in automobiles. They were called the robber barons by some, ruthless in business, but they were also visionaries who built the systems that shaped a modern nation. Ford, in particular, changed everything with his Model T. He didn't just make cars, he made them affordable. For the first time, ordinary Americans could own one, and suddenly distance didn't seem so far anymore. A changing way of life. The industrial boom didn't just build factories, it built a new way of living. People moved from farms to cities. Time clocks replaced the rhythm of the seasons. The workday was no longer about the sun, it was about the shift. Women began entering the workforce. Immigrants built lives from scratch. Children worked long hours in mills and mines, a dark reality of early industry that would later spark labour reforms. America was becoming a machine itself, moving faster, producing more, consuming endlessly. The cost of progress. But progress came with a price. Smokestacks blackened the skies, rivers filled with industrial waste. Workers toiled for pennies, while a handful of men grew unimaginably rich. In the late 1800s, strikes and labour movements erupted across the nation. The Pullman strike, the Homestead strike, and others marked the rise of workers demanding fair wages and safer conditions. Out of that struggle came the birth of labour unions, which fought to balance power between factory owners and the people who kept the wheels turning. It was a painful but necessary step, because a nation that builds on the backs of its workers must never forget their worth. The Innovation Age. The momentum didn't stop. The late 19th and early 20th centuries brought more innovation. The telephone, the telegraph, and electricity in every home. America was leading the world in invention. The Wright brothers took flight. Edison lit up cities. Ford put wheels on freedom. And behind every great name were millions of ordinary Americans, engineers, miners, factory hands and dreamers, all pushing the nation forward. The legacy of the boom. By the time World War I arrived, America was no longer a developing nation. It was an industrial powerhouse. Its factories built weapons, ships and machines that fueled the Allied victory. Its economy surged. Its influence grew. The industrial boom had done more than create wealth. It had redefined what America could be. It built the cities we live in, the roads we travel, and the inventions we still depend on today. But more than that, it built a spirit. A belief that, with enough work, courage, and imagination, anything was possible. From the clang of steel mills to the hum of city lights, the industrial boom was more than a moment. It was a movement. It forged the modern United States, one invention, one worker, one dream at a time. This was the age that built the America we know today. If you love stories that bring history back to life, like, share, and subscribe to The American Rewind, because the past isn't gone. It's just waiting to be rediscovered.